Well, joining us now, Major Libby Weiss, spokesperson of the Israeli Defense Forces. Major Weiss, thanks very much for being with us. The death toll, absolutely horrific at this stage. My question to you is that on the one hand, there are hostages in Gaza. On the other hand, there are relentless attacks being carried out by the Israeli armed forces. What is the thinking as far as that is concerned? How will you be able to extricate hostages if this level of bombing continues?
Well, first I should clarify and say that the fastest way to release the hostages is for Hamas to do that immediately, right now, without any conditions or any terms. That is something that Hamas could do, that has the full capacity of doing, and we should all be calling on Hamas to do that immediately. In regards to your question beyond that, I would have to say that the operational reality is very complicated within the Gaza Strip. At this stage, the IDF, and as always, we are only targeting Hamas targets within the Gaza Strip. We need to, and it's absolutely critical that we prevent them from having any of the means to continue attacking Israel, as we have seen in the last several days. But when it comes to the issue of the hostages that are being held in the Gaza Strip, Hamas can and absolutely should release them immediately.
Major Weiss, there is talk of a process which is taking place with Qatar being involved, apparently talking to Hamas. Are you at all, or is the Israeli government at all optimistic that that could be a step towards the eventual release of the hostages?
It's something that is really being handled not at the military levels. It's certainly something that the government is looking into. But again, I call on Hamas to release those hostages immediately. And certainly here in Israel, we are doing everything that we can. We are thinking about this just horrific act constantly. It is something that just haunts all of us. And we are thinking all the time about the hostages, about their families all over the world. Of course, we know that not all of them are Israeli, and we are thinking about them. And it is something that all of us are focusing on 24 hours a day, nonstop.
Major Weiss, as far as the situation in Ashkelon is concerned, could you give us the latest? Because we heard that Hamas was threatening or telling people in Ashkelon to get out of that area. Our own NDTV crew were in a hotel which came under attack. They're okay. But what is the situation as far as Ashkelon is concerned?
Well, we do know that earlier today, just about an hour ago, there was another barrage of rockets launched by Hamas towards communities in the south, including Ashkelon. We are getting reports about homes that have been directly hit by that rocket fire. And this is just another element of Hamas's attacks and terrorizing of the Israeli public. And I'm very happy that your team, of course, is okay. But this, I think, gives an idea of just one element of the horror that Israelis have been living with since Saturday morning.
Major Libby, is a ground offensive now inevitable?
Any decision along those lines is something that would have to be made by the cabinet. But what I can say from the military perspective is that we are prepared for whatever the government decides. We are preparing for any operational eventuality and for any option along those lines. And we will take our instruction from the government if and when they make that choice.
Major, is there any information or evidence of an Iranian link, a direct Iranian link at this stage?
What I can say is that we know that Iran has been a long-time supporter of Hamas, both providing significant financial support and other types of support, weapons, training, other things along those lines to Hamas over the years. And we do, of course, think that there is some degree of fingerprint of Iran on the actions that Hamas has taken. But I don't have any more additional information that I can discuss about this specific event. But we certainly know that the connection between Iran and Hamas is longstanding.
What is your message, Major, for Indian nationals in Israel right now? We have We've got hundreds of students who study in your country. We've got any number of Indian nationals who work in your country. What is your message to them?
The message that I have for them is that, of course, we see them as part of our whole country right now. And what we are doing is to keep everybody here in Israel safe. We will not stop until our country is protected. We truly feel a sense that we are fighting for our homes, for our friends, for our loved ones. And we see certainly the Indian community here within Israel as part of that. We are here for them. We are fighting for them as well. And we so value our friendship with them and our relationship with them. And they are one of us. They are part of us in this and in our fight to keep everyone safe.
Major, there have been some reports, and I'm not certain whether these are confirmed, about the possibility of aid streaming into Gaza from the Egyptian side. Is there any evidence to suggest that this is happening or may happen? And if it does, what would the Israeli response be?
I don't know to confirm that information, but I would want to stress that we are not looking in any way to target the civilians within Gaza. We have been saying for years that Hamas has obviously no regard for Israeli human life, but we also know that Hamas has no regard for their own people. And we understand that Hamas is terrorizing the people who live within Gaza as well. And we have no interest in harming people in Gaza. Our focus is solely on Hamas and Hamas's terror and military assets.
And a final question to you, Major. What about the situation on the Lebanon front? There have been some attacks from Lebanon. I know that Israel is prepared on that front as well. You are obviously preparing on Gaza. Is the prospect of a multi-pronged war very, very realistic, very possible?
Well, we have in the last few days seen several isolated incidents coming from Lebanon, including mortar fire, as well as several infiltrations. And we send a very clear message, and we are saying, and it is not something that can be misunderstood, do not test us. We are calling with a very clear message to any other terror organization, to any other country that is supporting or harboring these terror organizations, to not get involved in what is happening. And of course, we are monitoring the situation very, very closely, bringing troops to be in that area to make sure that our citizens are safe. But it's a very clear message that we are sending to not get involved and to not test us at this time.